Soldier Boy isn't trying to win anymore. He's trying to die. Okay, so I need to talk about something that's been stuck in my head since watching The Boys Times Episode 4. And it's not even the most obvious thing. Yeah, Homelander getting V and that massive power shift happened, but that's not what's bothering me. What I can't stop thinking about is this one specific detail that nobody seems to be sitting with long enough: the moment Soldier Boy executes Dr. Quinn, the one person who could actually keep his nuclear core stable. Because that's not reckless. That's deliberate. He didn't just remove a problem, he removed his only way out. And if that's true, then the next time he uses that blast, it's not just an attack on Homelander, it's a suicide mission. And that right there tells you everything about where Soldier Boy is psychologically right now. What I keep coming back to is how times calm times that moment is. Soldier Boy doesn't hesitate. There's no build-up, no emotional outburst, no visible conflict. He just does it. And that's what makes it so uncomfortable. Because Dr. Quinn isn't just some random target. She's literally the only person left who understands what's happening inside him. The only one who could potentially stabilize that nuclear core before it spirals out of control. So when he kills her, he's not just removing a threat, he's removing his own safety net. Sit with that for a second. I know the easy answer is, oh, he's unstable, he's angry, he's lashing out. But I think it's way more disturbing than that, because this doesn't feel impulsive. That reaction felt real, and more importantly, it felt times-decided asterisk. Think about it from Soldier Boy's perspective. He's been used his entire life, controlled, experimented on, turned into something he never fully understands. And now he knows there's something inside him that can't be contained forever. That blast? It's not just power, it's a ticking clock. And Dr. Quinn represents the only way to keep that clock from hitting zero. So why get rid of her? Unless part of him doesn't want it to stop. Unless he's reached a point where the only control he has left is choosing how it all ends. Because if he can't fix what he's become, and if Homelander is the final thing he needs to take down, then removing Quinn isn't a mistake. It's step one. And that turns his next move into something a lot darker than revenge. It turns it into a one-way decision. Okay, but let me back up for a second, because everything about this only really clicks when you look at Soldier Boy next to Homelander. Both of them are walking nuclear disasters in different ways. But the key difference is control. Homelander is obsessed with control, how people see him, how much power he has, how far he can push things without losing that image. Soldier Boy, on the other hand, is starting to look like someone who's done trying to control anything at all. And that honestly makes it so much darker, because when Soldier Boy kills Dr. Quinn, he's doing the exact opposite of what Homelander would do in that position. Homelander would keep her alive, manipulate her, use her to stay on top. Soldier Boy removes her entirely, which feels less like strategy and more like rejection of survival itself. Am I reading too much into this? Maybe, but then you look at how both of them react to power, and it gets uncomfortable. Homelander gets stronger, and he leans in more ego, more control, more God complex. Soldier Boy gets more unstable, and instead of trying to fix it, he starts cutting off the things that could save him. Both of them are becoming more extreme versions of themselves, just in opposite directions. Now, can we talk about Butcher for a minute, because he's kind of sitting right in the middle of this? Butcher's whole thing has always been sacrifice. He'll burn himself, everyone around him, whatever it takes to finish the job. And now you've got Soldier Boy potentially doing the exact same thing, just on a much bigger, more final scale. Think about that parallel. Butcher chooses to destroy himself slowly with V to take down Homelander. Soldier Boy might be choosing to destroy himself instantly, to do the same thing. That's not just similar, that's a mirror. And if that's intentional, then what we're watching isn't just a fight between heroes and villains anymore, it's different versions of the same mindset colliding. And that raises a really uncomfortable what if? What if the only way to stop Homelander is someone becoming just as self-destructive as he is, I want to come back to something I mentioned earlier about intention, because this also completely changes how we look at Soldier Boy's past behavior. Up until now, you could argue he's just unstable, traumatized, reacting. But this moment with Dr. Quinn doesn't feel reactive. It feels like a line being crossed. Once he removes the one person who can stabilize him, every action after that becomes a choice with an endpoint. Meaning, if he goes after Homelander now, he knows what that blast is going to cost him. And he's doing it anyway. Sit with that, because that shifts him from unpredictable to terminal. Now let's bring Homelander back into this, because he might not even realize what he's walking into. Homelander still sees himself as untouchable. Even with V, even with stronger enemies, he always believes he'll come out on top because he needs to survive. His entire identity depends on it. But what happens when the person coming at you doesn't care if they survive? That's a completely different kind of threat. And that honestly makes it so much darker, because Homelander can't manipulate that. He can't intimidate it. He can't outlast it. If Soldier Boy has genuinely decided that this ends with both of them, then Homelander is facing something he's never had to deal with before. Someone with nothing left to lose. And then there's the bigger thematic layer here, which I don't think is accidental. Both of them are products of the same system. Both were created, used, turned into weapons. But where Homelander clings to that power to feel like a god, Soldier Boy might be rejecting it entirely, even if that rejection means destroying himself. Both of them are broken, just in opposite ways. And that parallel, that's where this whole theory really lands for me. Because if Soldier Boy's next move is what it looks like, then this isn't building toward a clean victory. It's building toward a collision where nobody walks away. And the scariest part is, for the first time, that might be exactly what Soldier Boy wants. And I think when you step back from all of this, it starts to feel less like a theory about one character and more like the show quietly telling you what it's really been about this whole time. Because this isn't just Soldier Boy versus Homelander anymore. It's what happens when people are pushed so far that power stops being about winning and starts being about ending things. You've got Homelander clinging to control, to dominance, to the idea that he has to survive at all costs. And then on the other side, you've got Soldier Boy potentially moving in the exact opposite direction where survival doesn't even matter anymore. And then right in the middle of that, you've got Butcher slowly becoming the same kind of man he's been trying to destroy. And that's the part that really sticks with you. Because all three of them are connected by the same thing. They've all been shaped by violence, by control, by being turned into weapons. And now they're all dealing with that in different ways. One becomes obsessed with power. One becomes consumed by revenge. And one might be choosing self-destruction as the only way to take that power down. That honestly makes it so much darker, because there's no clean version of this story anymore. There's no right side that comes out of this untouched. Everyone is paying for it. And it kind of loops back to that original moment, Soldier Boy killing the one person who could save him. Because that's not just a plot decision. That's a statement. It's the show saying that sometimes the damage runs so deep that the only control a person feels like they have left is how it all ends. And if that's where this is heading, then this season isn't building toward a victory. It's building toward a cost. Maybe even a final one. And I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But maybe that's the whole point. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think Soldier Boy killing Dr. Quinn was a calculated move? Or was it the moment he quietly gave up on surviving altogether? And if he really is heading toward a one-way blast, do you think Homelander even sees that coming? Drop your thoughts below, because I genuinely want to know how you're reading this, because the more I think about it, the darker it gets, and I honestly can't decide. That one's been living in my head rent-free.